God's first plan with us humans was marriage, which is why the Old Testament says, "That is why a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife." The first commandment of God, in a broader sense of the word, what God has spoken in an imperative way, puts the emphasis on sexuality. Be fertile and multiply. Jesus Christ raises all this to the level of the sacrament when He says, "For this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." And then He says, "Therefore what God has joined together, no human being must separate." At that moment, when they got married, the two of them became husband and wife. When is the couple married? Husband and wife are married when they say in front of the altar, "I will, I do, I promise." But they are still not absolutely married. When are they absolutely married? When is their marriage indissoluble? From the moment when the first sexual intercourse took place, after the altar. Therefore, in order for a marriage to take place in the church and be absolutely concluded and indissoluble until death, it is necessary to say the word and speak in one's body language. We can say this in layman's terms, in fact, to give our body as well. What are husband and wife at the peak of their love when they are united? They are an image of the Holy Trinity, the most Holy Trinity. The three divine persons. They permeate each other, the three in one, one in three. When they permeate, they love each other. When they love each other, they create. What do they create? They are creating this world. Husband and wife are all the same, only they are here on earth a duality. Therefore, they permeate each other. They merge literally. When they permeate each other, they love each other. They are at the peak of their love, and when they love each other, they create. What do they create? They create a new life, a baby. Therefore, on the one hand is the Trinity, and on the other hand is the duality. And here on earth, only husband and wife are exclusively the icon of God the Creator. What is sexual intercourse? Sexual intercourse is the renewal of those words that a husband and wife said in front of the altar. I will, I do, I promise. It is an act of surrender. I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. Therefore, it is an act of surrender when they share the sacrament with one another. What do they do during intercourse? They renew this consent with body language, that is, with their bodies. However, the question now arises, is everything allowed? If sexual intercourse goes only towards orgasm, towards pleasure, neglecting the other, then it is impure. No matter how technically you may perform everything perfectly, you may come to a complete union and the intercourse may be not interrupted and you may not use any artificial means. What is that? Why is that so? Because when a person in front of the altar says, I will, I do, I promise, he or she surrenders to that other person and thinks of the good of that person. And in the previous case, that person thinks exclusively of himself and his own pleasure, neglecting that other person. We are rational beings. God has given us reason, and we are rational beings within an irrational nature. We are the only ones created in the image of God, and we have this ability of reason. The very word reason refers to the verb to separate, and then when you separate, you have free will to choose in your life. And when we say that we are rational beings who use reason, that is, that we naturally plan our family according to our recourses, that is, according to our mental, physical, spiritual, and material goods. It means that we respect all our talents, capacities, and potentials that God gave us, but we should count on one thing, that we are all unique, that we are all originals. When we say, for example, physical goods, we must keep in mind that not all mothers have the same physical ability to bear a child. Therefore, nowhere, absolutely nowhere, does it say, neither in any church document nor in the Bible, how many children a Christian should have. According to church documents, it is recommended that it is good to have a large family. But I repeat once again, we do not all have the same physical, mental, spiritual and material goods. What does it mean, say, to have spiritual goods? One married couple does not have the same faith as the other married couple. What does it mean to have mental goods? Some people are not as mature as other people and their capacities should be respected. Therefore, by pointing a finger at someone and saying, he could have had more children, and he didn't have them, you're actually pointing at his capacities and talents that he may not have developed. Should he develop them in a relationship with God? It is necessary, it is absolutely necessary. But what obliges us all in some way is the following. Whether you give birth to 1 or 21 children, it is everyone's duty to make an effort, to make the maximum effort and raise that child in accordance with Catholic values. When we talk about contraception in marriage, then we must always return to consent. That is, to what the husband and wife said to each other at the altar. I promise to be true to you in good times and in bad, in sickness and in health. I will love you and honor you all the days of my life. Husband and wife profess these words to each other in body language in their sexual act. It is an openness to life. But what is contraception? Contraception was not invented to prevent pregnancy. Contraception was invented in order for us to take responsibility away from ourselves. That is, to make the marital act easier for ourselves, to facilitate the marital act, under quotation marks, and to reduce the marital act exclusively to the animal level, to make it infertile. What is the surrender of husband and wife that takes place at the altar in a marital act, in sexual intercourse? I give you absolutely everything, but I do not give you my fertility. There, I deny you something or take everything away from you. I accept from you everything that I promised you at the altar, but I do not accept your fertility. This is the core, the key to the problem when it comes to contraception, and it is absolutely at odds with our church doctrine, evangelical doctrine, openness to life. Not to mention abortive means, such as intentional abortion, pill for the day after, spiral IUD. They're all abortive means. Hence, it is the murder of the unborn child. Now, a logical question can be asked. If someone, according to his resources, mental, physical, spiritual and material capacities, decides or doubts whether he still wants to have children after they have given birth to 2, 3, 5 or 6 children, what about sexual intercourse in that case? In that case, the husband and wife practice their sexual relations in the days the woman is infertile. The woman must make every effort and get to know her own body, and the man must respect the woman's menstrual cycle, that is, he must respect her. Because if we say that husband and wife are an image of the Most Holy Trinity, that they are a duality, of course, they will not renounce sexual intercourse, but will have sexual intercourse during the days that the wife is infertile. But there are various influences, such as a woman's job, family, the space within which she moves, etc. All of this can greatly affect her. With that, she may be putting some pressure, stress on herself, which can very much disrupt her menstrual cycle. All of these factors need to be taken into account somewhere and sometimes. But I repeat, a husband must absolutely respect his wife as Christ respects and loves the Church. In the same way, a husband should love his wife and get to know her menstrual cycle together with her in order to continue to enjoy this sexual intercourse, the sexuality that God has given us. Because sexuality is not a piece of body or flesh, roughly speaking, but sexuality is entirely the individual, from head to toe, in spirit, soul, and body. Therefore, it is necessary to respect each other, get to know each other, especially husband and wife, and then, through following these cycles, determine when to have your sexual intercourse. It is very difficult to answer this question. It is difficult to give a concrete answer because it is necessary to approach each case, each married couple individually and thoroughly consider and listen to the whole situation. What can be said in principle is something like this. One should always start from the following question. Does everything I do in marriage bring me closer to or distance me from my spouse? If we already come before some fait accompli, we are always guided by the theological saying, we choose the lesser of two evils. We choose the lesser evil. It is not that you have chosen sin, that you have decided, and that your fundamental commitment is for some evil. But in that situation, you are going to choose what is less sinful, what is less evil. But it is necessary not to give up your ideals, not to give up your beliefs, not to give up persuasion, conversation, communication with others, and do it in a way that you believe could lead you to that ultimate goal, to finally live your sexuality in that sublime mystery or ideal. Thank you to both of you. I have to admit that this is a new, enjoyable experience.